All right. I really should have started this like 45 minutes ago, but it's okay. Excuse me. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. I just used my 40 minutes early basically to get Unreal all set up. No, not. Oh my fucking god. Nice. I can cancel. Good. All right. So converting classes and whatever explicit is a way that so apparently we're not static casting. We're doing some other stuff maybe. I'm not sure. All right. Yeah, this is trash. Yeah, sure. Oh wait, here we go. Yep. So we're printing foo 5. So we're passing 5 in. Foo creates a foo. So it's expecting a class object, but it's getting an int object. So does it then convert 5 to be... Well, we have a default constructor. I mean, does it go in and actually create foo? I'm not sure. Maybe some things are disallowed, some things are cool. Types do not match, and the compiler will try and implicitly do it. Makes sense. One of them is... Well, you said this would technically be called user-defined, but okay. Or sorry, you do call it program-defined. That is correct. Hands are dry. The compiler will look to see if we have defined a function. So we could have implicit conversions that don't. So explicit might be a keyword that we force certain functions. Maybe. Or if we have a template and we pass in 5, we could pass it in as an explicit foo 5 or something. Or we could just pass it in as a foo 5 because that would be explicit. I'm not sure what explicit is for then. Or maybe it means that it only accepts that without a conversion. No implicit conversions, maybe? Yeah. In this case, that's the constructor. Makes sense. So far, we've done it to explicitly construct objects, not implicitly. Knew there was a fucking smudge. Okay. Makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. We're initializing foo with 5. Luckily, it has a function that takes an integer and initializes a foo object with it. And in this case, hopefully returns it more kosher. Let's see. Implicitly convert this integer value 5 into a foo. The function, we're converting 5 into a foo. The notes are all fucked up. Well, yeah, because we pass in an integer and then we're initializing a foo with it. I mean, I don't think the constructor is necessarily returning a foo, but we are passing an int to a foo so that the foo actually exists. Makes sense? Because there's a function to do it. Prior, it was temporary. It was converted to a temporary foo. Oh, but then we have a elision. That makes sense. Yeah, because in this case, print foo 5 is used here, and then why would it be? Oh shit. So it's expecting a foo, so it first has to convert 5 into a temporary foo to then initialize this. So we assign value to one foo, and then assign it to another foo. Instead, it just removes that. It's copy initialized. Oh, it seems like this is some move semantic stuff going on. I think it creates the temporary, but then it moves the actual temporary where it needs to be in memory. Or makes the things that are relying upon F to just rely on the temporary. So I'm not sure if it's saying, hey, instead of describing this piece of information, this little land map, instead of calling here France, call here France. Instead of actually moving France, because I feel like that might be expensive. I hate this. My left eye feels weird. Constructor used to perform an implicit conversion is called a converting constructor. That makes sense. Why we need to know that? Who the fuck knows? Maybe applied? What do you mean? Meaning that. Sorry. Oh, meaning that if we don't have a conversion from 5 to some class, but we do have a constructor that will convert 5 to the class, and then another user defined type that will convert that class, then by passing 5 straight to that other class, unless the class can specifically take an integer, maybe it won't do it. All right, example, main, we have print employee Joe. All right, what is print employee doing? It is taking an employee E, so if we pass it Joe, a C-style string, it's trying to convert that to an employee. It does turn out that an employee is a C-style, or holds a C-style string, and we can indeed convert a C-style, or sorry, a standard string. We can convert a C-style string to a standard string. Or, oh, it's a standard string view. Wait, no, standard string. Yeah. So, it create this temporary, and then, well, actually, it would have been create a temporary and then initialize E. Instead, we're just initializing E with Joe. Okay. And we have a constructor that takes a string view. So it would be looking at where the C-style string is. And it would be initializing mname, the standard string, to be an owner of that value now. So it takes the standard string view, converts it to a standard string. So maybe that's an issue, this conversion here. I'm not sure though. Oh, and it's because it's converting a C-style string to a standard string view. Which is then converted again. Meaning, for a class will only convert something straight to it. So, this parameter needs to match what type this guy is. So we could pass this a standard string view, and it's taking a standard string view into the name. Standard string view. Hold. But the problem here is that it's converted to a standard string view, and then converted to a standard string. Well, I mean, it's really just initializing it a standard string. So we could pass in a standard string view. That way it's a standard string view straight to the function, and then it converts to a standard string. I don't know why we're saying standard string view to employee and not just to standard string, which is an employee. Or just explicitly construct an employee instead. How the fuck does that work? Oh. Hold on. I guess it is being converted into an employee, huh? It's being converted to a standard string view, initialized into an employee. Or hold on. So you can convert something to get an employee out of it, but you can't convert something that then still needs to be converted to get an employee. So you could pass this employee Joe. That way Joe goes straight to employee. So it goes. Isn't that the same fucking thing though? Or is the issue that I don't understand that. So the problem is that in this expression, we have the conversion from Joe to a standard string view, and eventually we get an employee out of it. The problem is that there's no direct conversion from C style to this. It's that it converts to C style or to standard string view, but then it actually has to evaluate to be an employee. But if we pass in explicit, Joe converts to an employee, and that's it. So it's fine if the conversion happens here, but not as long as it's not implicitly converted twice. Excuse me. Yeah, we just put employee before it. When converting, constructors go wrong. We're printing 5. Print, it takes dollars, D, and then prints the number of dollars. Okay. So 5 converts to D. Is this the same issue as earlier? Wait, hold on. 5 does convert straight to D. So 5 goes there and yields dollars, and that's okay, right? And then get dollars. Isn't this okay? Hold on. Yeah, this is cool. The hard part is saying print 5. Are we wanting to print 5 explicitly? Or are we actually creating an object that's of a different type with an implicit conversion via 5, which then we're calling this guy? It seems like it's not helpful to see what's, or it's not showing you what's actually going on. Yeah, true. We didn't think print was just gonna print. Well, I mean, it's that's the point. They thought it would print 5, but they didn't think it would go through this whole process of getting there. Gotcha. So you're preventing implicit conversions from fundamental types or other types into a dollar. So you have to explicitly say it to avoid those types of crazy conversions, which muddles your code, I think. Oh, we say explicit dollars. It cannot be used to convert shit into dollars. I.e., you have to pass in, well, you have to say dollars with an int. You can't just pass it nothing. An explicit constructor can't be used to do copy. I don't even know how that would, oh, because meaning in the body it can, huh? So, if we say, man, this song is fucking horrible. Why did I play this? I just tried it. Nah, dude, this is not it. All right, so example. Class gun, private, int rounds remaining, public, explicit gun, int rounds remaining. Nah, I knew it. I can't do that. Why it doesn't like that? Oh, cause though it's a temporary. Damn. Yeah, I guess so. Huh? Okay. So you think, all right. So I could create a gun, AK-47. Okay. And I can initialize it with 30 rounds remaining. Okay. And then we could do update gun and just pass it AK-47, right? Cool. But what if we instead just call update gun 5? Because that constructor is explicit, it is not converting an int to a gun. But if we remove that, it can, and it will actually do the conversion. Boom. Cool. Yeah, now we try and do it. It says, hey motherfucker, you're calling this this function that expects a dollars parameter with a fucking integer. Yo, that ain't it. That's not what I'm looking for, son. I'm looking for that crystal. This is schedule 1, yo. So, you can't take 5, pass it in, and then 5 gets implicitly converted to dollars, which calls the constructor that takes an int, and then eventually, and then it yields dollars. I'm gonna assume that the constructor means that it's a function that actually returns dollars. I mean, it seems like it is, really. It seems like it's returning it. Only use explicit on the declaration. Because I guess that's where the class behavior actually exists. Gotcha. So we could still do explicit initialization. While hold. Excuse me. Now it's explicit. But I could do gun 5. Or gun 5. Uh-oh. Okay. It just doesn't allow you to pass it straight. So you can still do it explicit. We'll hold. You can still do it, pass it explicit. Which means, and it's saying that because we are using direct or direct list initialization here. Okay. That's exactly what we were doing. What are you saying? Oh, we're saying explicit actually disallows it fully? Really? Oh yeah, I forgot that's what it said earlier. I'm not super sure why, but it disallows the assignment operator. Not allowed. Oh, because copy initialization comes in here and requires creating a temporary. Gotcha. Well, what if we did this? That would be fine. Explicit makes it so that we're explicitly saying, hey, put this value in this, motherfucker. Don't convert 30 and then assign, I guess, something like that. I would hope so. It's the whole point of a constructor, dude. Yeah, agreed. It's still weird. Okay. Excuse me. Well, yeah, because we're converting some sort of value into a foo. Like we're initializing foo with 0 or 5 or 5 again, but different syntax. And if we make it explicit, same shit. We can't just say, oh, get foo and return 5 or return something. It disallows that because you have to create a foo. And doing that, and we've already said that making explicit makes it so that you have to explicitly say what you're creating. Makes sense. Make any construct that accepts a single argument explicit. That way there's no conversion happening for it. Okay, makes sense. What do you mean a constructor that will accept? Oh, we're saying a constructor that will accept a single argument explicit. So if it can function with a single argument, make it explicit. Why? If I have a constructor with 4 parameters, 3 of which having an explicit, or a default argument. Is the point that making it explicit shows that, hey, if you're calling this, you need to explicitly say, I'm omitting the rest of these guys for this. I'm creating a foo that takes an int, float, double, and a long, and I'm ignoring the float, double, and the long to be default and use their default values, default arguments. So I'm just giving you an int. Well, you better put explicit on that int, son. And I guess the point is, so, well, I mean, one, you avoid overload issues when you're calling another function or initializing something else. And maybe it makes the constructor call more obvious too. This will disallow the compiler I'm using that constructor for implicit conversions. Well, yeah, that's the whole point of this. Makes sense. If we need an implicit conversion, then don't use non-explicits or don't use explicits. Makes sense. Meaning that if everything's explicit, it's gonna look for the non-explicit. Oh, and it doesn't find any error. Makes sense. Yeah, you just fucking remove it, bro. Or you just explicitly say it, or you use, well, yeah. Copy and move. Copy constructor, okay. Because the copy constructor is the same type of the object, there's no conversion. And move, probably same thing. Just moving it in memory, maybe. A default constructor with no parameters? Well, yeah, why would you need that? Constructors that only accept multiple arguments. Okay. I feel like you'd still make it explicit in the second case with constructors only accepting multiple arguments. So if you had int and double, is the chance, is it just that the person's probably going to pass the right shit? What do you mean? Yeah, I don't know about that. I disagree. Constructors with one argument. Yeah, because you pass in one, and the chances of it being converted probably pretty high when not explicit. When a constructed object is semantically equivalent to the argument value, so if you have, what, I don't know, a class that somehow returns as like an int, and then you have an int, and you're like, okay, and the conversion is performant. Oh, meaning that the conversion is actually helpful and what reduces the size, or is the cheapest way of doing something? Standard string view accepts a C-style string, is not explicit. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's fine. Hmm. Meaning that if we pass in a standard string view, we want to make sure that you're aware that you're converting this to a standard string. Because that's expensive. Okay. Make a constructor that accepts a single argument explicit. Just to make sure that you're aware of the conversion, I guess. Yeah, makes sense. I mean, when possible, require explicit stuff. Yeah, why would you use type conversion then, huh? Or type deduction. I don't know. I feel like I'd rather know what's going on. Maybe you don't. Maybe not. Though, if everything was auto, maybe that's cool. Okay, I don't even know move constructors, but copy, I gotcha. A const expression aggregate. The fuck? Fuck am I hearing? Yeah. Yeah, in this case for yeah, that's fine to be const expression. Yeah, we can call greater with const expression values, and then we initialize a const expression int that requires compile time with greater. So greater isn't doing anything crazy, nothing that has to run at runtime. So yeah, it evaluates the compile time for sure. Wait, hold. Oh, we mean in some cases. Gotcha. Okay, so it depends on each call. It's not in general. It's not. Oh, it's always evaluated. It's in some cases it's evaluated in this at this time. In other cases it's evaluated at that time. Okay, gotcha. That makes sense because character output isn't required, so it's may versus will, must, or will, shall, and then yeah. Fuck my headset up again. Not wrong thing. Jesus. Getting tired. Oh. So we create a pair, and then we output pair greater, and it evaluates at runtime. Why? Because the object isn't guaranteed to be created at compile time? Mm. And it's because pgreater only evaluates at runtime? Little pimple action, very fun. Oh, fuck, I'm tired. How do we make it? So, the point of const expression is so that we can make a function that evaluates at compile time, and we can force it to in some context, or it can evaluate at runtime, or it can evaluate at compile time because the compiler wants it to, or just decides to. May. But there's sometimes where it can't, like when used for character input and output, because that's just a runtime thing. I guess presumably because it deals with user input. And I think the input stream is maybe only connected at runtime or something like that. I'm not super sure. And so is it that member functions can't evaluate at compile time? Or there's something special? Or I guess I don't remember the rule. Do things evaluating at compile time context require? I guess maybe it needs to be something that could evaluate at compile time Well, one thing is pgreater isn't even I mean, the values are const expression, sure. Okay. But what, member functions normally don't have to or can't? Okay. Because non-const expression functions don't evaluate at compile time, I guess? That's the point? Hold. Hold. So we have pair P, 5 and 6. You're outputting greater. Because that's some runtime stuff. But greater is const expression, and it's used in a context that requires compile time evaluation. Is it because P isn't yeah, exactly, there it is. P also is not a const expression value. So the value of P dot greater is not necessarily unchanging. It's not guaranteed to be unchanging. Const expression aggregate, huh? Must, because we're initializing a const expression variable, which means whatever's inside it must evaluate at compile time. And thus, if it's not a const expression, there's no guarantee that it will. Okay, that makes sense. That's why we need it. Runtime stuff could still, or functions that aren't const expression could evaluate at compile time, but there's no guarantee. We need to be able to guarantee it in order to actually use it as a constant expression. So make him const expression. Sounds good to me. Oh, okay. Well, P grader could evaluate to a const expression. It doesn't have to. It could evaluate at compile time. I mean, in this case, it has const expression values and it's using, well, I mean, it's still evaluating at runtime in some places, but the point here is, I mean, I guess literally right now, it's always going to return a constant expression because it's returning a data member of a constant expression, which must mean that it's a constant expression that it's returning, right? Oh, because it's a constant expression. Oh, okay, never mind. All right, so because it's a constant expression member function, it's a constant expression. Okay. All right, pause for now. Bro, that's too fast. Alright, let me be right back. Not really sure why I even got up, honestly. No, it did the query. I guess it just got faster. Okay. Dang, okay, you can't even select it if you have a pro, but alright, it's fine. Bro, what the fuck? Oh, that's fine. It's just less questions than I thought. I thought it was missing stuff. I don't know why I'm stupid. I'm more prone to irritation when I'm hungry. Or when I don't even know. I'm just feeling retarded right now, kind of. Oh, tired. That's the word. That'll do it. And see, I'm not like, why did this not? What the fuck is happening? All right. Why didn't that go full screen? All right. I need real music. I think that's the problem. Or what could be improved. I don't know what free functions. Oh, I got you. Excuse me. Makes sense. Um. Okay. Fuck it. Oh shit, I never even made something like this. Yo, yo, yo. Oh wait, yeah, true, it's a class. Oops. What? Fuck is happening here? Is it okay now? No? It doesn't want that? It's another constructor, but this is supposed to be our copy constructor. Yeah, but... Oh, here we go. Oh, so you're fine with it? Okay, I guess it just really doesn't like... IntelliSense is not a template-friendly guy. Excuse me. Function overloading is creating multiple functions versions with the same identifier to individually handle argument types or disallow specific calls slash implicit conversions. Templates are helpful when you find that function overloads share the same logic. If you initialize a float with an integer literal, initializing a float variable with an integer literal yields a numeric conversion from the integer to the float because the usual... Well, what do we even call it? I mean, I get it for deducing a common type. Conversion rules convert integral values into floating point values. Yeah. there's no optimization benefit like a float to double or character to int. So this isn't numeric promotion. Auto keyword is used for variable type deduction, where the variable's type is set to be its initializers, or a function's return type is set to the type of the value it returns. Could also be used to trailing return type function syntax, like would do auto do thing auto. Makes sense. Okay. Evaluate standard code input. Code input is a condition. Or really. An assertion is a shortcut for in an if statement with the true or with the false. An if statement may not if statement, like if not something, the true condition calling standard abort, i.e. when x, well, i.e. and x5, if x is 5, or rather we can assert that x is not equal to 5. Bro, hello? Oh, now it's fine? Okay. If x is 5 and we assert that it's not 5, use as an assumption error checker. use randoms standard random device to seed a standard seed sequence. Pass to seed a standard M20937 called via its identifier by a standard uniform in distribution initialized to the random range we want. For do while exits the innermost loop or switch. Which evaluates a known an expression and executes code for the matching case. The known value or unknown if default for each possible path. Careful fall through. Unless desired, put a return or break after each case is logic. Since logic is owned by the switch, so it continues after each case's logic. What? If x equals 10 or x equals 20. Die. Namespace. Oh, good question. The section is an isolated section of global scope where variables there can share identifiers with global variables located elsewhere without risk of name conflict. Could still technically shadow global variables, but we can access those with operator boom. Classes are, I don't even know what we call this. Classes have their own, classes are definitions of are user defined type definitions that objects of which can be instantiated in memory and used. i.e., they can hold their own variables that we get with operator or operator this guy. Well, and actually, yeah. Technically letting us name variables there however we want to, with risk of shadowing globals. Construct const expression. Alright, variables defined in global scope, accessible in every file everywhere in the file that has a forward declaration or sees their definition. Unless a global is defined in the file. or if. After spanning the lifetime from program start to program end. Non-const ones are discouraged because it's tough to track where everywhere they are used and changed. Everywhere they're tough to debug them, or rather, because they're tough to debug. They're used everywhere and could be changed everywhere. Or rather, anywhere. Block scope. Or function scope if we're talking about the braces that start and end a function. But really it's block scope. Set it using or equals instead of and equals. So there's and equals, there's or equals to a, it's bit mask, or 1 shifted left to the right bit, or left to the correct bit index, bit number. A bit mask is a binary integer with all zeros with all bits unset except the 1 bit it's assigned to, and helps set and unset. Bitwise and operator and turns a binary integer with all bits unset with only bits set in both binary integer operands set, i.e. 1 and 0 and 0 yields 0 because no bits are set in both. Okay. That's all I got for now. Let's get it. Okay, so data members are made private and inaccessible outside the class, which forces encapsulation and allows control. Nice. Oh, true. We can also maintain invariants because we can have the constructor maintain it so that when we create the object, the invariant is preserved and, excuse me, that's it. The constructor's called one time and boom, invariant's good to go. Cover the member functions and free functions. Explicit keyword for instructors. Can't call them. Cool. What's the correct? All right, class constructor. Here we go. Should match the class, but the identifier as okay, sure. They aren't required. Well, yeah, because there's default. Nobody said default. Oh, I'm saying the body. Oh, true. Because in the body you could do other stuff. Okay, that makes sense. But the point there is that you want your constructor to be made in such a way that if it is elided, that you don't lose behavior. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, makes sense for the initializing. Aggregate rules. Essentially, plain old structs and arrays with only public, static, non-static, and no user-defined constructors or bases. I don't know what a base is. What the fuck? Oh, and private protected. Okay, makes sense. Most correct. Aggregate initialization is the way to initialize structs. They can have private members and constructors, but they make them non-aggregates. So they should. Well, yeah, it's the best practice. Yeah. Well, that's why I said should, motherfucker. I didn't say required. Struct is identical to a class. Well, it's just the public versus private. Default data private. Default data access. Yeah. In class, cool, correct, possibly absolute, null pointer, cool. Type safe way to specify. Yeah, because it's specifically a pointer to null. Or at least a type that is, its type is a pointer to null. Or at least a pointer, something like that. Detail reference by as object, cool. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what all that shit is. But yeah, those are overloads, make sense. American versions of our... Oh man, I'm getting glazed up right here. Holy shit. American versions of our... Yep, exactly. True. Nice. Yes, good. Enter auto deduces like that. It makes... Oh, also true. I could have said it for pointers and references as well, but it's fine. Drops references, drops top level cons. Possible risk. Cool. Standard character input. Yeah, because it converts implicitly to a boolean. That's good. Cool. Accurate search. Yeah, makes sense. RD. Well, in this case, we're initializing it kind of shitty, and we're initializing it with direct initialization for some reason, and then we're doing 110. I mean, you could do that though. Correct. I mean, you didn't do a standard seed sequence either, but okay. Those are the loops. Spot on. Cool. Describe. Not fully correct for constant expression or constant. Wait, really? Well, if we're talking static for functions though, hello? Bro. Oh, you are tripping. No, sir. Wrong. Wait. A static global? Static global? Why would you make a global static? I've never seen that. Static global variable in C++? No, bro. What is this shit? Bro, what is this? Bro, what is a static global variable C++? Oh, so it does give it file skip. Okay. Okay, so you can do that for a global as well. I didn't know that. Because the lifetime doesn't change. It just makes it so that it's only known in that one file. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Block scout. Yeah, sure. And then yeah, for some bit action, perfect bit mask. Can have any combination of bit set. Oh, well, I guess you could say you could have a mask for these combinations, but I mean, I'd rather just have it for one, right? I mean, it seems like. Set clear toggle. I mean, that's the same shit. Set and clear is literally toggle. Very good example. Cool. All right, cool. I will take it. More tomorrow.